My name is Lauren Hollows, and I am here with Marc Miles for part 3 of our interview. We have been talking to Marc about his book, which he has recently released. If you haven't checked out parts 1 and 2, by all means, please do below. And you can also find the link to purchase his book down in the links below as well. But Marc, we are back for part 3. And one of the things that you talked about in this, which I'm going to push back on just a tiny little bit, was you provide a list of skills for an advanced trainer, and that included being like empathetic and approachable. And obviously, learning new skills is something that is often it's often confronting and uncomfortable for students because it might mean acknowledging something that they didn't know. It might relate to shame. And you touch a little bit on this in like the stages of learning, but what I find with a lot of trainers nowadays is trainers are like increasingly nervous about saying the wrong thing. And there's kind of there's like one interpretation of empathy out there, which is like empathy means not making people feel bad, as opposed to like the old school interpretation of empathy, which is like, I understand where you're coming from and I'm going to help you get to like, I understand where you're coming from and I can understand your feelings on that. And now I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to push you into your boundaries of discomfort in order to build a new skill in you. And it's kind of this concept of like short-term empathy of making people feel good versus like long-term empathy and wanting people to actually build skills. But in the current age, I find that there's so many trainers that come to me and they talk to me and they're like, what if I make somebody feel uncomfortable? What if somebody's upset? And there's this concern about having to make sure that our students always feel good and feel safe, and how that's a little bit antithetical to actually building skills. So talk to me about what's your definition of empathy first, and approachability, and how you see those things working in tandem with like building student skills and pushing them through that discomfort.
Oh, not much there at all. So I love it.
I never
as I was preparing for this interview, I really pondered the question because it is something I do talk about in the book quite a bit, empathy. The way I define it is putting myself in someone else's shoes. And the way I sort of let it play out is, what would it be like for me going through this course right now? So I guess my personal spin on it, and I guess the way that I kind of approach it is, when I went through high school, I really struggled with learning. And I was the kind of person that got overwhelmed very quickly. I got confused very quickly. I needed more breaks than normal. I needed things broken down for me, and I needed the safety and the space and the non-judgment that if I made a mistake, it would be okay. So essentially, empathy for me, and I'm going to get to your point about sort of challenging people in just a moment. What I'm looking to do in regards to empathy is really set up a safe container. So, for example, in the ground rules and different things I will talk about is mistakes are encouraged and mistakes are appreciated. I will also be looking at strategically building self-confidence through the workshop. And I'll be doing that through getting people to reflect, do quality self-reflection questions like asking them, so we've just done X, Y, Z, what's getting easier for you about what we just did? Or what's one new thing that you feel you're getting even more comfortable in as we go through it? So throughout all of my language, I'm looking to build people up, not tear them down. Now, as we take that approach, you find that there becomes inherent permission that if I want to slap someone down, I got the permission to do that because they can hear my heart in everything I'm doing. So with the empathy, it's like, okay, cool. Probably I need to put in strategies in place so the person doesn't get overwhelmed. For me, that's a big part of empathy. It's like, okay, cool. How much can this person handle right now? What's their saturation point? Physical, mental, and emotional saturation point. Where are they at? But most trainers, and I saw this when I coached and mentor TA trainers, like they would push people further and further and further, and they wouldn't stand back and think, how's the person feeling right now? What's going on for them? What's their emotional state? It's like, yeah, don't think you'd want to ask that question, right? So for me, it's like, all right, observing people in the room, what's going on for them, right? So that's a big part of empathy. So preventing overwhelm, preventing confusion, and strategically building people up and looking at structuring everything that you do so that people feel comfortable. And another thing that I'm very passionate about in the book is scaffolding. Now, people talk about scaffolding in different academic senses, but for me, it really got this concept from the movie Karate Kid, and I think I talk about that in the book. But it's like Mr. Miyagi, he was so good at scaffolding, getting Daniel-san to, wipe the floor and paint the fence and all that stuff. But all of that was just incrementally building skills for the learner. But also, there's a great book called The Rise of Superman, The Rise of Superman by Stephen Kotler, I think it is. But basically, in the book, he looks at the science of extreme athletes getting into the zone or being in the flow state. And he looked at the science and he said that if people are looking to be in the zone, they want to be 4% challenge and they want to have that support there as well. So it's a little bit risky, but it's not too far past their comfort zone. And I've just noticed that great trainers are able to push people a little bit further, but not so far that they crash and burn. And so for me, empathy, I believe that if there is enough rapport there, you can absolutely slam people, but they know that you're coming from the right place. And you just need to go, okay, cool, safe learning and safe learning. Everyone loves you. Everyone feels comfortable with each other. And we're strategically working towards a positive outcome. Everything is safe and they can take in whatever needs to be taken in. But those other things are in place to make that happen.
Point that you raised early on about the fact that mistakes are welcome, right?
Yeah.
Understanding that this is not yet competent, this is not yet satisfactory. This is that, which means that if you're going to get it the first time, you're going to get it 40%. The second time, you're going to get 60%. The next time, you're going to get it 80%. And then on the fourth or fifth time, you're going to get it, then you're going to get it bang on, right? But it's going to take those four. Whether you see it as those four failures, whether you see it as those four mistakes, all of those things are good because it means that you're one step closer to figuring out how to do it correctly. Yes. So I think that paradigm, like setting up that paradigm in the classroom or the practical, whatever the situation is, I think setting that up from day dot is really, really important to balance that. Like that's that safety blanket, the safety rope that you want to have there of like, you're going to fuck up. You are 100%. The first time you do this, you're going to get it wrong. You're going to get like 10 things wrong. That's okay. Then you're going to get like 6 things wrong, but we're just going to keep working through it. And every time you stuff up, that's okay because you're going to learn something from it. As long as you're learning something from it, then that's okay. That's good. That's progress.
Yeah. And you really want to help people, I find, acknowledge their own wins, acknowledge their own successes. And also, I've got a lot of times where I actually say, okay, what did you just learn from watching the other person do it? What did you learn from watching someone else? What did you learn? And so a kind of environment of we're going to learn from each other no matter what. And getting people to actually acknowledge the success of other people in the room is a really powerful strategy. And it creates that idea of part of learning includes failure. Part of learning includes making mistakes. And we're only really learning if we are making mistakes. So, yeah, for me, that's a really, really important thing to get across to people. And the thing is, many people in life have had very negative experiences in learning. They put up their hand in high school and the teacher made fun of them or made them feel uncomfortable. They've got those things in their mind. But yeah, and I think in the book I talk about the needs of the ego, and one of them is to feel safe and not judged. And so we need to create the environment where it's possible for people to learn based on their own self-perceptions and self-identity as a learner.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, I guess the key advice for trainers in and around that empathy boils back to a lot of the things that you've already said, being one, know the people that you're dealing with and know that everyone's going to have different tolerances for sitting in that discomfort, making mistakes, and how they're going to interpret that. And then once you understand, like, and continually checking in with that person to, look at all of the symptoms and the signals that they're sending you as to like, am I comfortable? Am I not comfortable at the moment? And then setting up a really good, clear set of, I guess, maybe not rules, but like, ways in which the classroom is going to run, or the culture of how the class or the training is going to run, and allowing that space, and really encouraging kind of those mistakes to be made and welcomed, and take them as learning experiences.
100%. And just a very small thing, in my training, I never allow the word improve. I never allow the word improve, because improve actually, I find, is a very negative word. Because with improve, we are presupposing there's something to fix or bad. Instead, what I say is, okay, if we ever did that again, what's one thing we'd do differently? Yeah. And so after every activity I ever run, I'm going to do a pair debrief where I'm going to say, share with your partner what's the biggest thing you discovered or realized from what we just did, and what's getting easier for you each time we do it. And then we do a couple of rounds of that, and everyone's going to share. But I'd never say what's one thing we could improve, because it's going to put us in emotional deficit. I'm always looking to operate from that full cup state of being. We're going to add better and better and better and better. I'm never going to say, let's fix something. No, it's like, all right, cool. What would we do even better next time in regards to a different strategy or a different approach or a different, not improve, if that kind of makes sense. And I just know if my manager or salesperson said, you need to improve your XYZ, I'm like, well, okay. So I'm doing nothing else that's good, and you're saying I need to fix it. Okay, I'm really doing my best here, but can't we enhance my performance, not improve it? And so a subtle shift like improve versus enhance has got so much emotional charge to it, but people just, have got unconscious awareness around that. And just that one simple shift can make so much difference in the mind of the receiver.
Yeah, I definitely like that thing of having people reflect on what's easier for them. Because I think it's one way of them, like a lot of people struggle, I think, to compliment themselves. But by identifying what's getting easier for them, that's kind of their way of saying, well, I'm getting better at that. Like I know that's coming along. So I think that's a really good, that's just like a really nice little simple way of bringing that out with people. Well, guys, if you want lots more tips and tricks like this, Mark, where is the best place for them to go to get your wonderful book?
Well, first place would be the link down below. That's going to be in the comments. But probably Amazon, you can definitely find it there. And definitely on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find information about it. But also follow me on YouTube if you'd like to. Every Monday, guaranteed, I'm going to be releasing a video. It's going to be on training. It's going to be presenting. It'll be on random range of topics, whatever I notice that really the marketplace could needing in that point. But yeah, lots of things that you'll find in the book, but also things that I come across that I think needs a video or just deserves some thoughts around. But yeah, you'll be able to find me on YouTube, and that'd be really great. And Lauren does some amazing stuff on YouTube as well, so definitely follow Lauren. She is awesome.
Thank you very much. So now I do want to ask you one question. I'm going to start doing this for absolutely all of my guests. What is one thing that we should be talking about in vet that we're not talking about in vet?
I am actually going to dial it back to the conversation of this recording. How do we create a safe learning environment?
Yeah.
How do we actually get adults excited to learn again?
Oh, I like that. Yes, that is true. That is very, very true. All right, guys, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed these 3 conversations. You can find all of them below at our YouTube channel. I'm sure that Mark will be linking to them on his YouTube channel as well. My name is Lauren Hollows for NOI Education Services, and I've been here with the lovely Mark Miles. Have a great day, guys.